Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy. As always, I am your host, Josh Lilquist. On the last segment, we covered some income strategies, how to have strategies that are designed to ride along the coattails with the banks and institutions. And that actually gives us an advantage, being a much smaller player in the market, is being able to get in and out of our positions at a much easier rate. And how institutions buy and sell in the market, they buy in blocks, we call them zones. That's how you actually can wrap proper capital management around that and then make smart and safe trading and investing decisions. And we had a lot of people texting in and going to the website here recently for the free trading and investing class that we're doing across the metro area. We have all these classes that we're seeing great folks come into. Al, actually, a lot of really good folks that are doing really well financially, but they want to be able to do a little bit more because they've had issues in the past and they want to have that second source. Or almost like a backup plan is kind of what I've been hearing. So if that's you, just come into one of these investing and trading classes and see what it's all about. We have these classes during the week. We have them on the weekends. They're only about 2 hours long. Al teaches these. I teach these as well. And we have a lot of fun talking about how the markets work, but how to make smart trading and investing decisions. Simply just text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's for 2 seats for a free trading and investing class. Text investing to the number 210-210 or go to tradingacademy.com. Also, we love our subscribers and followers on the podcast. If you missed part of the show, you can simply just go to the podcast. We got about 1,124 episodes on there now. So check those out. We got all those archives on there. Just go to Investing and Trading Live on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and make sure to smash that follow button so you can be updated when we do the show. Typically, we do the show live, and then that way you can ask questions as well, especially on the YouTube. If you're watching YouTube, just go to Josh Lilquist on YouTube, and you can watch all the outtakes there. We have some good banter back and forth in between segments. So with this next segment here, Al, since we did cover the income side of things on the last one, how to have supply and demand, that type of strategy to have proper capital management, but also keep your profits while you're trading. That's the most important thing.
Right.
It's kind of cliche. It's easy. Anybody can make money in the market, but not everybody knows how to keep it.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing with retirement accounts as well. As I mentioned, and I kind of ended the last segment, is there was a stat, I believe it was MarketWatch, said that there are more millennial millionaires, 401k millionaires now. Well, think about it this way. Think about in 2000 or in 2008, how many people were the richest they ever had been. And then for those of you that did go through those experiences, you know that markets went straight down for a while, and then it took so long to get that back. So they lost their money, but then they were living like half of a lifestyle if they had to retire and utilize that. So it's just as important to protect and keep those 401ks to where they're at, those IRAs where they're at. So say you got 100,000, 500,000, a million, 5 million, 10 million. Doesn't matter what you have. The most important thing to do is protect that. So what are some of the strategies that you've been helping a lot of people with here at the Academy, especially when they're coming into these trading and investing classes? What are those strategies to protect those portfolios, but also to have those opportunities in these markets that are just catapulted to the upside?
Yeah, well, I think number one, if you have a 401k, understand what's in it. Most people don't. They put a 401k together when it's first offered to them, and for, I would say, probably 80 to 90% of the people out there, they have no idea what is in their 401ks. They put it together initially, or somebody helped them put it together.
Or don't even know how to access it.
And they don't know, absolutely. And you know what? There's also a large number of people that have 401ks with previous companies that they don't even know they have. Mm-hmm. And there's trillions of dollars out there in 401ks that are just sitting there being unclaimed. So number one, know what's in your 401ks. And we talk about these in these classes. You can trade within those portfolios. You don't have to just keep what you initially put together. There are going to be times when the market is going down, when maybe you want to rotate out of some of the stock holdings that you have, mutual funds you have, or ETFs, and maybe go into some kind of a fixed income or a cash equivalent account. And then you can transition back when the market comes back up again. So first of all, let's understand what's in there. And then secondly, if you're looking at just using your 401k for retirement, you're probably, well, I shouldn't say you're probably, but for a lot of you, you're not going to have enough when you retire to make it through what could be another 20, 30, or 40 years for you. So what else can you do? Well, a lot of our students will set up a self-directed IRA. The best thing about a 401k or 403b is if you have an employer that will match part of it, that's free money. You want to take that. But then you're still encouraged to keep putting more money into something that actually is a terrible investment. The upside returns are probably in the 4 to 5% range, but you're 100% exposed to full corrections or bear markets. You're paying fees for somebody to supposedly manage it. So your overall returns are going to really be restricted. So why not take some of that money that you would have put into the 401k after the match has been met? Maybe set up a self-directed IRA. And then what do you have access to? Well, no fees for one thing, a no-fee portfolio that you can use some of the income-producing assets in, some of the assets that have leverage that we talk about in these classes. You can invest in not just stocks and mutual funds, but you can invest in the options market, the futures market, the foreign exchange market, the crypto market, precious metal market, real estate market. You can also have protection, which is almost impossible to have on a 401k.
Let me ask you this, Al, though, because a lot of people are probably thinking right now, well, why would I want to do it myself when I can just have somebody do it for me? Because they're supposed to have your best interest, right?
Correct. We see all sorts of people coming into these classes that went through a drawdown in the market where they had given somebody their money and they were relying on them to protect it, and they didn't, and they lost a lot of money. Also, if you think that your money's being managed in a 401k, most of the money that's in those retirement accounts are in mutual funds, and the majority of mutual funds, it's probably in the 90% range, don't even meet the index or whatever their investment objective is. They underperform. So, and think about it, who's actually managing your assets? Who's making the changes in what you have in those accounts? It's you. You're making the changes. You're paying fees to somebody else basically to just kind of hold your money for you. So as long as you're already making your own decisions, then why not do it in a way where you have many more choices? But maybe the most important thing is that you can have protection on your assets. In a self-directed IRA...
But hold up. But let me ask you this, though, because does that take a lot of time?
No. In fact, one of the mistakes people make is trying to put too much time into monitoring it, which gets your emotions involved, so which you have to take out of trading.
So it's more management than just trading.
Yeah, it's basically finding. It gets down to finding those zones we talked about: the demand zone, the supply zone. Where are the buyers? Where are the sellers? Where are the institutional buyers? The institutional sellers. Once you can identify that, then you can identify the right asset. And by the way, there isn't going to be one strategy that's right for everybody. So one of the things that we do that's different, we put a plan together for each person that's based on their uniqueness, their individuality. And then you can use different assets in different market conditions. The market isn't always going to do the same thing. There's going to be changes. And one of the great things that we can provide for you is access to professional instructors that trade these markets on a regular basis. I mean, you have access to a number of different pros that might have maybe a little different approach to things, different styles, but you have access to them not only for your education, but maybe more for support and keeping you updated on changes and different things that are happening in the economy or the markets.
Yeah. So imagine that you had that community behind you, right? And we talk a little bit about time. A lot of people think that you have to trade every single day in those. Well, you shouldn't. And as I mentioned earlier, it's more management. So you're in your positions, and it's not in your position forever. Maybe you have a position where it's set up in advance to get you in, but also to get you out. So that way the computer just execute it for you. The platforms are all very sophisticated. They have been for many years. So it's, I hate to say it, but you try to have more of a hands-off approach, but still you know what's going on, and then you're all set, so you're protected on both ends, and that's how you eliminate the time factor, we'll call it. And I want to make sure we're not misleading, because it does take a little bit of effort.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. But isn't if you're looking at your financial stability, your financial security, is it worth putting a little bit of effort into it?
There you go. That's kind of where I was hoping you'd help me out there, because if your money or your finances or your future, or maybe it's your kids' future, your grandkids' future, you want to leave a legacy, if that's important to you, it might take a little bit of effort. And I want to invite you to start that, to do that with confidence, to have an actual strategy, how to do that with consistency in those retirement accounts. And that can be in 401ks or IRAs. So to come in one of these free investing classes strictly on 401ks and IRAs, just text the word investing to the number 210-210, and that's for 2 seats for this investing class near you. Text investing to the number 210-210, and or you can go to tradingacademy.com and you can pick your own seat there. And you can come these during the week. Also, we have these on the weekends, so pretty much anybody can attend. Al, we got a lot more to discuss. Let's get into a little bit more income and wealth trading and how to have the opportunity to have enough at retirement time. This is Josh and Al. We will be right back. All right. Having enough. Anything you want to cover else on this last segment, Al?
Well, you kind of, I think we probably need to hit on the difference between income and wealth. How do you approach the markets for income or for wealth?
Okay. All right, here we go. 11:40 on the clock. All right, here we go. Segment 4. Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy. And on the last segment, we were talking about strategies for more on the wealth side of it. So being able to have the opportunity to retire when you want to retire, because sources say there are more 401k millionaires out there. So now is the time to protect those, but also have the best opportunity to continue that growth as you are preparing for retirement time. And that's what I want to talk about here on this next segment. But we had a lot of people texting in for this investing class strictly on retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, and how to make smart investing decisions within those. To come into one of those classes, just text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's for 2 seats for an investing class on 401ks and IRAs. Text investing to the number 210-210. Or just go to tradingacademy.com and you can pick your own seats there. Also, we love our subscribers and our followers on the podcast. That's Investing and Trading Live, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. You can also check out the live YouTube stream. Just go to Josh Lilquist on YouTube and check out the outtakes there. So, Al, with this last segment here on the show here today, had a great discussion, and I know everybody always asks, how do you guys talk for an hour on the radio? I tell you what, we could go 2, 3, 4, 5 hours on this show because there's so much about the markets that I think it's good to get out to people because they just don't teach financial literacy anywhere in school. So
that's correct.
I want to continue that discussion about retirement time because there's a lot of listeners that are listening right now and they're a little concerned that they just might not have enough to retire and be able to have that retirement that they've always dreamed about. Now, how you build wealth is actually, you can do that a certain way, and you actually dictate that. You should not have somebody else dictate your financial future. So how you actually build wealth is a type of income. And it's extra income because you need extra income to save. You got to have some fun. You got to pay them pesky old bills, but you got to be able to save a little bit. And then you have to invest that to be able to build those retirement accounts. And there are certain approaches that you utilize for that income side of things, Al, but also the wealth part of it as well. So what are some of the things that you're diving into and breaking down as far as concepts for our listeners and people that are coming to these investing and trading classes here in Bloomington? What are some of the different approaches that you can use with the financial markets, the strategies that are designed to build a wealth bucket and also to continue that into retirement time?
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things is people don't understand that there are different ways of approaching the markets and using the markets for income than there is for wealth. And when you talk about the two, let's look at wealth as something you're going to rely on later in your years, maybe when you're in retirement. But in order to have enough money in that, let's call it a bucket, in that wealth bucket, it means you're going to have probably more income while you're still working before you go into retirement. Why is that important? We know that there's a high number of people. In fact, it's probably 60 to 70% of the people in this country now live paycheck to paycheck. That means there's little or no money left over to put into that wealth bucket to build for your retirement.
Yeah.
Also, if you only have one job, one source of income, and something happens to that job, there's no income there.
Well, think about it. Yeah, the definition of job, J-O-B, is
just over broke.
Because if you lose that job, you're going to be broke.
Right. And why are there so many wealthy people in this country? Because they have multiple sources of income.
Correct.
And that's not multiple jobs. So if you're looking for income, what does that mean? If you need, let's just say that your furnace breaks down, which typically happens in the winter when it's 10 or 20 below zero.
Exactly, yeah.
And you get a new furnace. Can you tell the people that installed that furnace that you're going to pay them in 10 or 20 years for it?
No.
They expect to get paid now.
So what are some of those strategies for that type of investing?
Okay, there are short-term vehicles that we teach, we talk about, and in fact, we'll introduce you to them in these free classes. One is in the options market, one is the futures market, one's the foreign exchange market. They can be used for short-term investing and also for more longer-term investing. But if you need income, it means it has to be an amount of money that you can access on a short-term basis. And that's different for different people. Some people might need it daily, some maybe weekly, some monthly. But when we put together a plan for people, we kind of take that into consideration. And that's going to kind of dictate the strategy and the assets you use. But the ones I mentioned, futures, Forex, and options, not only can they be used for short-term additional income, but they also have leverage, which means you can take a small amount of money and control something much greater than it. That by leverage, it may mean that each dollar will control something worth 10 or 20 or 50 or $100. That's maximizing the value of each investment dollar you have.
So people that don't feel like they have enough to get started, well, you're just not using the right vehicle.
Exactly. And for a lot of people, if you try to find a good financial advisor, somebody who really has a great track record, they may probably require a minimum now, maybe $500,000 to $1 million before they will actually take you on as a client.
And what Al means by that good track record is they have millions and millions of dollars under their control, and they're making a lot of money in fees.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to.
Right, and we have a lot of students that come in and say, hey, you know what? I had an advisor, I got fired. They said I don't have enough money for them to work with. And the sad thing is that most of the people that really need help are the people that don't have millions of dollars.
Millions. Well, think about it. How do you build something? You have to start on your own. And that's why I want to inspire people to do this yourself. It's not rocket science. You just haven't been taught yet. Yeah. So how do you help people bridge that gap of getting started?
Well, I think coming into one of these free classes is the first step. You have to take some action. You have to do something. You can't just listen to people talk. A lot of people, we have, I don't know, thousands of people that are listening to the radio show that have been listening to us for years and haven't done anything. you need to take that first step. It doesn't hurt, by the way. We don't harm anybody or hurt anybody when you come into these classes. We just show you what's available. And part of it is your mindset. Once you understand what's available, once you understand that you don't have to be a genius to do this. You don't have to have a lot of money to do it. You don't need a lot of time to do it. All those fallacies, once you understand that those can be overcome, you have the opportunity to benefit from these markets just like the pros out there. You can trade the same things. You have access to the same kinds of strategies. They just don't want you to know what they are, but that's what we teach you. So once you come in, understand what's available. Is there something out there that can help you to achieve your dreams, your goals? And a lot of people just kind of have accepted where they are is where they're meant to be. That is the furthest thing from the truth. You need to change that mindset. Have some dreams, have some goals, and believe that you can achieve those. And that's the first step. You have to believe that, and then we can show you some of the vehicles that you might be able to use to help you achieve those goals.
And that's actually taught from a young age. And sometimes we forget about this stuff because we want to teach our kids to believe you can do things, to believe you can start something. And it all starts with Bob the Builder. And Bob the Builder always said, can we fix it? Yes, we can. And if you believe, you can achieve. And sometimes action is that hardest thing to do, is actually take that action. Matter of fact, this was a while back. I was doing one of these trading and investing classes, and I had a person stand up. There's probably 10 people in the room or so. We try to keep these classes small, between 10, 15 people.
Right.
So that way, if you have questions, you can always get those answered. But they're like, there's 10 or 15 of us here, and we all came here for some sort of reason. Nobody would come to a trading and investing class for no reason. Right. And they were like, you know what? I bet there was a lot of people that didn't take action today. And you did the hardest thing by coming into that trading and investing class. Sometimes that hardest thing is taking that first step. But how do you get to that second step? You got to take that first one. And once you get that first step, you start walking. You start jogging. And my old friend Ron Burgundy would call it yogging. And then you can run. Then you sprint, and then you slow down a little bit, because trading and investing is a marathon, and you have that nice, smooth stroll. And that's what we want to inspire people to do, is take action. Get started in these financial markets, because if you have a goal, it doesn't even have to be monetary. Maybe it's a goal of freedom. Maybe it's a goal of time. Maybe you want to travel more, go see your grandkids, kids. It's not getting any cheaper to do all that. If you want to be able to do that stuff, it might take a little bit of extra income, but planning ahead is going to be that most important thing. So hopefully we can inspire you guys to take some action. I want to give away one last set of seats for this investing and trading class, this free class that we do locally here in Bloomington and all across the metro. It's the holiday season. Might as well do something about it and take action with that financial future. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for a free trading and investing class, and that's going to be one for you and one for a friend. Text the word investing to the number 210. When you do that, you're going to get a text right back. We'll also make sure we get you a call so you can find the right date and time that works the best for you. You can also go to tradingacademy.com and pick your own seats there. Al, we've had a great discussion here today. Income strategies, wealth strategies. Hopefully we've inspired people to take action. Let's do it one more time with today's OTA, Tip of the Week.
Well, the most common regret that people on their deathbed have is that they wish they had lived a life true to themselves and not a life that people expected of them. It starts with your imagination, by the way. If you live out of your imagination, you're living out of your potential. We often talk about how powerful it can be to imagine how you want things to be, what you want your future to look like. Successful people often imagine themselves being successful before they are, and that helps them realize their full potential. So your imagination can be one of the most powerful tools you have to change your future. So now is a good time to start using it.
And that's a good example of a great coach out in college football, Deion Primetime Sanders. He's got his kids to believe that they can win. They went and had a great season after 2 years ago having a 1-11 season. Do that. If you believe it, you can achieve it. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for a free trading and investing class. Invest differently, smarter, skillfully. As always, same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my friends.